Hey, for the Wall Street Journal, this is Jim Fusilli, and I'm here with the Italian jazz master Enrico Rava. Enrico's in town to perform music from his new album, Tribe. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Everybody.
I'm so glad to meet you. I've loved your work for a long time, and I want to talk about Tribe, but I want to talk about your album, New York Days.
Yes.
It came out a couple of years ago. You lived in New York in the late 60s and early 70s.
Yeah, from 67 to 77.
And what was your experience back then? You were a young man. Was it a big classroom for you? Or?
Well, first of all, I was very lucky because I came to New York playing in the band of Steve Lacy, that at the time was very, very respected, and still me, but he's dead, unfortunately. So that opened immediately all the doors, for me. So I met everybody, I started playing with everybody. It was, I must say, it was easy, I was lucky.
Oh.
And then after a couple of years I started recording for ECM, started touring, and the experience was great because New York in the late 60s, early 70s was unbelievable because all the masters that invented jazz were still alive and playing everywhere, from Duke Ellington, Coltrane, Armstrong, everybody,
and
Miles, Thelonious Monk, everybody was.
And the free
thing
happening
was Albert Tyler, Cecil Taylor. I was involved in that area, but I like the whole spectrum of jazz, from New Orleans to electronics. So for me it was, I could go to listen to Duke Ellington, then to Coltrane, then to go to play maybe with Cecil Taylor, and then go to listen to John Coltrane at the Latunji Center, go to rehearse with Ornette Coleman. It was really something unbelievable.
Yeah. I find the New York Days album to be very emotional. It's in parts very quiet and very thoughtful. When you were composing, did you transport yourself back to those days?
No. When I write, I write for the musician I know I'm going to play with. So I thought about how Mark Turner, which is one of my favorite tenor players, I thought about Paul Motion, that I thought about, so I think the situation in which, in my opinion, they could sound at their best.
Okay. So now with Tribe, this is a different thing. Now you have a new band.
Yeah.
A young band, I guess we can say it's a young band. And all new musicians, mostly new musicians?
Gianluca Petrella, the trombone player, played with me since 10 years. I met him when he was 18. To me, he's the greatest trombone player alive today. In fact, he won the Downbeat Critic Poll at #1 for 4 or 5 years in a row. It's amazing. And now he's 35. Then I have a very young bass player, 21. 25 years old is the piano player, and the drummer is about 50. He's not old as me, but he's trying to reach me.
Right. So, but now what this band does, and one of the reasons why Tribe is so fascinating, is that this new band is exploring some of your old compositions.
Also. Yeah.
Bringing a different perspective.
Yeah.
As a band leader, what were your instructions?
They're minimal. I learned from Miles, which is one of my favorite artists. I usually just bring a line, a melodic line, and some chords, and then I decide maybe a couple of points where we have to meet. We have an obbligato, maybe very short, and then everyone find his own space, even during when we play the head, That's why when we play the head, it sounds different every night, because I always say to the guys, let's imagine that we have a white wall and we have to paint, to make a painting all together, and each one find what to do and what not to do, But to do that, I need people that they must be good musicians, but not only. They must have the same kind of vision I have, because if they are into like a heavy ego trip, there's no way they can play with me, because my idea of music, that's why I call it Tribe, It's like the Cherokee organizations. There was it's like a perfect democratic, ideal place where that cannot exist in the reality, unfortunately, where everyone give what he has to give and get what he needs to get. Nobody imposes ego on anybody else, but nobody renounces to his own ego. So it's a perfect. I'm looking for a perfect balance, the harmonic balance, like a cosmic balance, where everybody is right, and if something is wrong with the whole universe, you know what I mean? So for me, it's the same thing with the music. I tried that, and if I cannot get that, I rather do something else. I don't need to play anymore at this point to survive. So I do it only if I can do what I really like, when I must have a lot of fun to do it. If not, I don't.
He is Enrico Rava. The new album is Tribe, and one of the wonderful things about it is once you are finished enjoying it, you will be compelled to go and explore his vast archive and listen to some of the earlier versions, contrast and compare. It's really wonderful. Enrico, it's such a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
For the Wall Street Journal, I'm Jim Fusilli.